The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to roll out not one, but two surprising starters against the Cleveland Browns in Week 11. And, well, the defense, it's got some concerns, I guess. What's going on, everybody? I'm Noah Strackmine. Thank you for jumping on to Steelers to Go, your daily to-go cup of Pittsburgh Steelers news and analysis. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talkers. Subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers head into Week 11 against the Cleveland Browns. And as we all know at this point, the defense, well, it's beat up. They lost Quan Alexander in Week 10 against the Green Bay Packers to a torn Achilles. The week before, Cole Holcomb goes down, season-ending knee surgery. He will be placed or was placed on IR. Quan Alexander shortly followed. Minkah Fitzpatrick has missed the last 2 games because of a hamstring injury. He's going to miss probably a third this week. I would say it's a very slim chance that he is on the field when they travel to Cleveland. Keanu Neal is another name to watch. He has not practiced all week long because of a rib injury that he suffered last week. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, well, they're slim. Their depth chart is getting thin. And at this point, the guys that they expected to be contributors elsewhere are not going to meet the bill when it comes to playing actual defensive football. And therefore, they have to look outside the box. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you just look at their active roster, Elijah Riley and Miles Killebrew would be the options at safety, and then Mark Robinson would be the option at inside linebacker. All three of those guys, phenomenal special teams players, will give you great contributions in small doses, even on defense. And we've seen, I was the biggest Elijah Riley guy all preseason long, all training camp long. I thought this guy should have been their starter at the nickel. I thought he showcased enough to earn a spot on defense. Once the regular season started and they started playing constant starters all the time, you quickly saw that, yeah, Riley's good. And again, in small doses, he could be a valuable asset and a little bit of a secret weapon. But once he's out there for a longer term, his athleticism or their lack of and his lack of speed starts to become an issue. He can't keep up with everybody out there. And same with Miles Killebrew. It's the same situation. These guys are great special teamers. They're the hardest working individuals on a football field, and they'll make plays from you or for you from time to time. But overall, they're not somebody that you're going to roll out there for an entire defensive game. Same with Mark Robinson. Mark Robinson's a guy, if you go back and watch last week's tape, it is very apparent. This dude goes 100% at all times, but he's still raw at an inside linebacker position, and he's still a guy that's going to make mistakes, and you saw that. You saw him hit a hole, but not be able to identify where the ball carrier is, and instead get locked into a blocker, or try to clog a hole, but take on the wrong guy, and therefore it actually created a bigger hole, and it's a mistake on his part. A bigger gain was made. And you just saw those, and you say, hey, eventually that's going to happen, but for right now, he's not a guy that you're going to start out there all the time and feel confident in. The Steelers want him to develop into something. What that something is yet to be determined, but a year 2 7th-round pick, that's not somebody that you're sitting around going, oh man, I can't believe he's not starter worthy yet. No, you look at him and you go, okay, your time will come, your opportunities will be presented, and you'll get plenty of them for the rest of the season. But for right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't confident enough and comfortable enough to place him in the starting role full time. So instead, they'll rely on 2 practice squad guys this week, and hopefully both of them can make quality contributions and make some impact on defense, and maybe be some diamonds in the rough that the Pittsburgh Steelers desperately need. I have high hopes for one. Don't know how to feel about the other. But we'll start with the one that I believe is going to boost the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that is inside linebacker Michael Walker. He told reporters, he's told all Steelers that he believes that he's going to get the starting job this week. He believes that he'll be out there with Landon Roberts, and those two will be the first 2 on the field, and Mark Robinson will kind of come on, and he'll be that added piece, the depth piece. It makes a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You don't want to toss Mark Robinson out there, just like we said, and Michael Walker isn't a guy that's coming out here, and you're going, oh man, you don't have any experience. This is really a shot in the dark. Why would you take a shot in the dark on this guy and not Mark Robinson? Instead, you look at it totally different. Michael Walker is a guy who started plenty of games in this league, who's a 107 tackle season last year, who had 2 interceptions, 6 pass deflections, who has made contributions in the NFL on defense, and who's a former 4th-round pick. This guy knows how to play NFL football and be successful in the NFL. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are more so looking at this as, okay, Michael Walker is 26 years old. They somehow got him on the practice squad. He never thought that he'd be in this situation. And the Pittsburgh Steelers likely never thought they'd have an opportunity to have him in this situation. They fall to injuries. They're looking at this right now and long term. Maybe Michael Walker is another option to keep around longer than the 2023 season, and you're going to find out right now. But in the short term, for everybody's out there saying, oh, they should have went and signed Anthony Barr, or they should have looked at Deion Jones earlier, or Jalen Smith, or whoever, Michael Walker is a name that's right there with all of those guys, who's coming off of a starting season. And on top of that, he's much younger than everybody else. So it makes a lot of sense to say, hey, let's give this guy an opportunity. Let's see if he's adapted enough to the defense. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're going to roll the dice with him. Him and Landon Roberts will be the first 2 out there. Mark Robinson will work his way in, and I expect Tariq Carpenter to also get a call up from the practice squad, and him and Mark Robb to kind of be those backups and those special teamers where both of them thrive, at least right now. Then at safety, you're going back Damontae KZ, and it's not going to be Miles Killebrew. It's not going to be Elijah Riley. It's not going to be Patrick Peterson, even though all 3 of those guys will likely get some time, with, I imagine, maybe Darius Rush's name tossed in there as well if he's active on Sunday. But the big one is going to be practice squad's call-up, Trenton Thompson, who told everybody else around him yesterday that as of right now, and I got to say apologies to everybody because we were talking to him and he quickly realized, oh, crap, I got to go to a meeting. I got to be there right now. Took off, ran down the locker room. And I was like, I'm so sorry. I hope that we all did not just ruin this guy's first opportunity to start in the NFL. And hopefully Mike Tomlin or whoever else, Grady Brown, acknowledges that, sometimes it's the media's fault, and we'll take the blame for that one. But Trenton Thompson told everybody standing around him, there were about 3 or 4 of us, that he does plan to start on Sunday, that he has been told that he will get a call up, and the expectations as of right now, unless something changes with Keanu Neal or Minkah Fitzpatrick, is that him and Damontae KZ will be the starting safeties for the Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. This one's a giant question mark. Thompson played a very minimal role in Week 10 after getting called up. He showed flashes in the preseason, but they weren't a ton. They were enough to land him a spot over guys like Kenny Robinson, who emerged throughout the summer in training camp. Thompson came in here as a late addition in training camp, spent the end of Latrobe with the Pittsburgh Steelers, had a play or 2 in the preseason, and then made his way onto the practice squad, and you weren't really surprised to get an opportunity to start. Totally different question. We'll see what happens. I will say that there are a couple of good things here. For one, I think Thompson is more of a ball-savvy safety than Elijah Riley or Miles Killebrew, who are both kind of like thumpers and could be an option to be a much lesser Damontae KZ, which is what you're looking for in the safety position, especially against a quarterback who has 1 game of experience and hasn't really looked that great in that opportunity. DTR, on the other hand, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the Cleveland Browns starting quarterback this weekend, played against Trenton Thompson in 2019. And Thompson said, well, it's good to see him grow because back then he was young. He was making some errant throws, so on and so forth. So there is some familiarity there, a little bit of, I don't know, I guess to see a face again, even if it was a couple of years ago, always helps calm the nerves, always helps you identify things that you'd like to see. Thompson is a big iPad, study the playbook type of guy. He said he doesn't feel nervous, that he is a cool, calm, and collected type of player, but he anticipates being out there. The Steelers defense will look much different. I got to say that if it was going to be any week, this is a good one because, yeah, you're going to need Michael Walker to stuff the run. You're going to need a Landon Roberts to stuff the run. But if you could beat the Browns run game, if you could put this on DTR and force a rookie to win you a football game against a team that is 6-3 and has a quarterback that, even if he doesn't play great all year, all game long, he plays great in the fourth quarter. He plays great in those clutch moments. you give him an opportunity, he's going to go out there and win it most likely. The Browns really, they got to put this game on end early. That's a lot to ask of a rookie quarterback, even with 2 practice squad starters in the first team lineup. But that's how the Pittsburgh Steelers will look on Sunday. We'll see what happens. We'll see how long this has to stick. But for right now, they're trying everything they can to find some replacements to a pretty beat up defense.